Have you ever found yourself staring into the quiet dark of the night, asking a question so heavy and painful that you were almost afraid to whisper it out loud? It's that deep, aching thought that creeps in when you're completely alone. God, why does it feel like everyone else around me is moving forward, while I am just stuck here, standing completely still? It's hard not to wonder why some people seem to get their prayers answered in the blink of an eye, while your own petitions feel like they're just suspended in a long, agonizing silence. You look at the calendar and realize you've been praying for months, maybe even years, and yet that breakthrough you desperately need still hasn't broken through the horizon. Perhaps you've been pouring your heart out for your family, watching over your children or your spouse with a worried soul. Perhaps you've been constantly stretching every dollar, praying for financial provision just to catch your breath. For many of us, it's a prayer for physical healing in a tired body, the restoration of a fractured home, a deep mental peace, or a miracle so big that absolutely nobody but God Himself could ever pull it off. And yet, day after day, despite your deep faithfulness, despite all your quiet tears, and despite your commitment to keep showing up, the answer feels like it's being held back. When our blessings are delayed, it is so incredibly easy to assume that God has gone quiet. We start believing that heaven has turned its back on us, or that our prayers somehow got lost somewhere along the way. But let's pause and look at this from a different angle. What if the issue isn't that God is unwilling to bless you? What if it's not that He has forgotten who you are or where you live? What if instead, there are these tiny, quiet, almost invisible habits in our daily lives that are setting up barriers we don't even realize are there? I am not talking about massive, glaring sins that everyone can point a finger at. I'm not talking about some dramatic, open rebellion against God. I mean those ordinary, everyday patterns we fall into. A slight shift in our attitude. A recurring negative thought pattern we let linger in our minds. Words we carelessly let slip out of our mouths during a stressful afternoon. The little choices we make without thinking twice. These are things that look completely harmless on the surface, but day by day they slowly reshape the very condition of our hearts. Today we are going to gently uncover 8 of these small, hidden habits that might be quietly blocking the flow of blessings God wants to pour into your life. And before we reach the end of our time together, you might just discover that the breakthrough you've been exhausted from waiting for doesn't require a massive, dramatic life overhaul. It might just begin with one small decision. One single habit shifted, one quiet corner of your heart surrendered to Him. So, I invite you to stay with me until the very end, because what we are about to unpack together might just change the way you look at your spiritual journey forever. Before we take a closer look at these 8 habits, I want to speak directly to those of you who are just plain tired. I don't mean the kind of tired that a good night's sleep can fix. I mean you are spiritually spent, emotionally drained. You are tired of waiting, tired of keeping your hopes up, and tired of believing for something that feels like it's never going to happen. Maybe you are a parent or a grandparent. Every single night, you lift your children up to the Lord. You pray for a hedge of protection around them, you pray for their future, and you beg God to give them the wisdom to make the right choices and stay close to Him. But as you watch them walk through this chaotic world, you sometimes sit back and wonder if those prayers are even making a dent. Maybe you are staring down a mountain of financial strain. You work hard, you give it your all, and you truly try to honor God with what you have. Yet, the bills just keep piling up on the kitchen counter. Unexpected expenses seem to hit out of nowhere, and the doors of opportunity feel firmly shut. You find yourself asking when your season of relief and breakthrough will finally arrive. Or maybe you are waiting on a report of healing. You've prayed until you ran out of words. Others have laid hands on you and prayed alongside you. You love God and you trust Him, but the physical chronic pain is still there. The diagnosis hasn't changed. The daily struggle remains just as heavy as it was last year, and in the quiet moments, you find yourself asking questions you never thought you'd have the audacity to ask God. Perhaps your heart is breaking over a relationship, a marriage that has grown cold and needs deep restoration, a long-term friendship that's shattered over a misunderstanding, or maybe the heavy blanket of loneliness has simply become your constant companion. You keep bringing these broken pieces to the altar, hoping and wishing for a change. Or maybe, just maybe, your greatest struggle is happening deep inside your own soul. You feel a strange distance between yourself and God. You still get dressed and go to church, you still say a quick prayer before meals or at bedtime, but that sweet closeness you used to feel is missing. The vibrant joy you once carried feels miles away, and the fire that used to burn in your spirit has dwindled down to a tiny, flickering ember. If any of these stories sound like the life you are living right now, I want you to hear me clearly. God sees every single tear that falls from your eyes. He hears the whispers of every prayer, and He deeply understands every silent struggle you carry in your chest. The waiting season is incredibly heavy, and the uncertainty of it all can wear you down to the bone. The questions you have are completely valid.